In a world driven by economics, the balance between growth and debt has become a critical measure of a nation's financial health. Global debt in 2024. Global government debt has skyrocketed to a staggering $102.1 trillion, an increase of $42.4 trillion since 2015. This growing burden represents a complex interplay of economic policy, borrowing, and spending. At the forefront of global debt is the United States, which accounts for 34.55% of the world's government debt. With over $36 trillion in liabilities, U.S. debt is more than double that of the next largest borrower, China. China follows with 16.12% of global debt, equivalent to $16.5 trillion. Its government debt, as a percentage of GDP, has risen to 90%, a significant jump from just 40% a decade ago. This reflects its aggressive economic stimulus policies and infrastructure investments. Japan stands out with 10.01% of global debt. Despite its lower share, Japan has one of the highest debt-to-GDP ratios among developed nations, surpassing 200%. This is the result of decades of heavy borrowing to counter economic stagnation. In Europe, the United Kingdom, France, Italy, and Germany collectively contribute a substantial portion of global debt. While these economies are pillars of the EU, their high borrowing raises questions about long-term fiscal sustainability. Beyond the giants, smaller economies like Brazil and Canada carry notable shares of debt. While their borrowing levels appear modest in comparison, they reflect challenges in balancing growth, public services, and global economic pressures. Africa presents a diverse debt landscape. While the continent's share of global debt remains small, its economies often bear the brunt of external shocks. Countries like Sudan, with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 344, highlight the struggles of nations grappling with political instability and fragile fiscal systems. Elsewhere, nations like South Africa, 30, and Nigeria, 35 showcase efforts to manage debt while addressing pressing developmental needs. Across the continent, the challenge remains balancing growth aspirations with financial sustainability in the face of global economic headwinds. Interestingly, the rest of the world category, encompassing many smaller and developing nations, accounts for only 2.14% of global debt. However, these countries often face the greatest struggle in servicing their debt, with limited fiscal space and external dependencies. Global debt isn't just numbers. It's a story of choices, priorities, and challenges. As nations continue to borrow, the question remains, how can we ensure that debt fuels growth rather than future crises? Debt shapes our world. Understanding it is the first step to shaping our future.